Elections are finally happening. Okay, we're like 95% sure they're happening. Or maybe more like 90%. Khair, elections might finally be happening, which means you finally have the chance to decide the future of Pakistan. And, as ever, Pakistan is at a very nazuk more right now. Unfortunately, politics in Pakistan is a cult of personality, and too often votes are cast based on blind allegiance, without a deep understanding of what a candidate stands for. At Samjho, we don't feel that's right, so this election season, we will try to equip you, the Pakistani voter, with all the information you need to make an informed choice. To begin, let's take a look at what issues we feel are the most important when deciding who gets your vote in 2024. Let Samjho explain. Masle masail bahut hain, so it took us some time to decide which issues matter the most. Honorable mentions to climate change and the state of democracy in Pakistan, both of which are existential threats, but are also areas the big political parties haven't really formed policy on, for various reasons. So the five key areas for us are energy, security, social welfare, urban planning, and, of course, the economy. If you think we've missed any out, be sure to let us know in the comments. We love hearing your thoughts. The most important thing to bear in mind is that your vote should be based on who you think has the correct policy for addressing these issues. We're not telling you who to vote for, just asking that your vote be well informed. So let's start with energy. This was the focus of Samjho's very first video after our electricity bills went through the roof last summer. At its core, this is only a problem because successive governments have had bad energy policy, and it's hurting everyone at every level of society, from the pauper to the princely industrialists. We are importing expensive fuels on a crippled currency and using revenues from skyrocketing bills to service debt. Severe currency devaluation means Pakistan will pay 7% more for gas-fired power in 2024, even if global oil and gas prices fall by 13%. Switching to renewable energy makes complete sense, except that we can't really afford to build it, and even if we do, the biggest problem is the antiquated electricity grid, which is totally unfit for purpose. Consider voting for someone that fixes the problem and doesn't repeat old mistakes. Our current energy system isn't only an embarrassment, it's damaging for our economy, causing job losses, business collapses, and lost opportunities to compete on a global level. Next, let's discuss security, which has two facets, domestic and national. Starting with domestic, law enforcement in Pakistan is patchy at best, and grave human rights abuses like detention without charge and even extrajudicial killings are unfortunately common. Don't we deserve human rights? Kya hum insaan nahi hai? Pakistan signed the UN Convention Against Torture in 2010, but when will we practice what we preach? And when will police represent the interests of the common man? In a society where over 1 million crime reports are registered annually, is the police service fit for purpose? Few would argue yes. It's not normal to live in fear, and we should vote for someone who will work to end that. The other huge security challenge comes from terrorism. Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, Baloch Liberation Army, and even Al-Qaeda, remember them? Have claimed responsibility for carrying out suicide bombings and other attacks against security personnel and civilians that caused hundreds of deaths and injuries during 2023. There is nothing to say the situation won't get worse, and relations with at least 3 of our neighbors are far from friendly. This is a very complex area of global geopolitics, which makes it all the more crucial that the victor of the next election has the right outlook on these issues, whatever you think that may be. Next is social welfare, by which we mainly mean education and health. It's hard to argue this isn't a major priority for Pakistan in the second half of the 2020s, but just in case you're not convinced, there's a few things we should tell you. Starting with health. Pakistan ranks at 171st out of 204 countries on the Healthcare Access and Quality Index. Only 3 countries in the entire world have failed to eradicate polio in the 70 years since the vaccine became available. Pakistan is one of those. Tuberculosis and hepatitis are both still major killers in Pakistan, and medications are unregulated and can be low quality. Nobody watching this video would wish for their treatment to be at a government hospital, and private healthcare is irrelevant for the majority of the country, struggling to afford a roof over their heads and food for their families. You might also have seen our video on Pakistan being the most diabetic country on earth, and the huge impact this will continue to have on healthcare for generations. We deserve healthcare. Make sure you vote for someone that will give it to you. And when it comes to education, we have a unique opportunity. More than a third of Pakistan's population is below 14, and equipping them with a world-leading education is bound to change our nation's fortunes. But just 2/3 of children finish even primary school, and we have the world's second highest population of children not in school. Pakistan spends less on education as a proportion of GDP than any other country in the region, and education is crucial to bringing change to Pakistan. That's why Samjo is working, to educate you too. It's crucial for our survival. With both health and education, the regional disparities are enormous. So if you live in Balochistan, KP, or in rural areas, not served by hospitals or schools, it is even more crucial you use your vote for this issue. Before we discuss the economy, let's quickly talk about urban planning. First off, Pakistan is a devolved democracy, meaning there are certain things the federal government is responsible for. That's the one in Islamabad, run by the Prime Minister, and certain responsibilities that belong to the provincial governments. We'll go into this in more detail in a later video, but all you need to know for this is that despite local governments having some powers here, the federal government can still dictate a few things. You want to vote for someone who has the right policies on things like urban transport, public transport, housing, and recreation. Projects like flyovers and bus services can have an impact, but haphazard housing schemes and poorly designed neighborhoods can make day-to-day life hellish. Our cities should be built to work for us and not for the benefit of landowners and construction syndicates. Transport between cities is also crucial for growth, and the degradation of our railways has also been a tragedy that must be addressed. What might surprise you, given how many housing society ads we all seem to be plagued by, is that Pakistan is facing a critical housing shortage. In Punjab, for example, the current shortfall in the number of homes is 2.3 million units, and could skyrocket to 11.3 million by 2047. The quality of existing housing is also a major concern, with half of all urban households in Pakistan overcrowded and informal settlements not having access to basic infrastructure. Owning property is out of reach for most Pakistanis, and so building ever more opulent villas and housing societies aimed at overseas Pakistanis is not the solution. High quality housing for the masses is urgently needed. Okay, so it's finally time to talk about the economy. There is not a person in Pakistan that hasn't felt the pinch in some way over the last year. In real terms, our GDP actually shrunk by 0.6%, which might not sound like a lot, but you can see the impact that has had on our lives. Inflation is at record levels, public debt has ballooned out of all control, foreign exchange reserves are at critical levels, and the trade deficit widens. We have needed the IMF's help 23 times in our country's brief history, more than any other nation, and cycled through 3 finance ministers in the last year or so. Clearly, there are huge systemic changes that need to be made, and nothing we tried before has worked. Economics can be complex, and economic opinion differs. The truth is that it's hard to know for certain which way will work. You will all have different opinions, from hardcore communism or Marxism to Reaganism and radical free market theory, and you should vote according to those views. At the end of the day, massive structural reforms are necessary for Pakistan's survival. As much as everything else matters, the economy is perhaps the most important right now. And all of the other factors we mentioned today, energy, security, social welfare, and urban planning, will have an impact on the economy, just as economy will limit how much we can address those issues. As Naji Ben Haseen, World Bank Country Director for Pakistan, puts it, with inflation at record highs, rising electricity prices, severe climate shocks, and insufficient public resources to finance human development investments and climate adaptation, it is imperative that critical reforms are undertaken to build a fiscal space and public means to invest into inclusive, sustainable, and climate resilient development. Basically, we need to get our shit together if we want a future for our nation. We hope that elections go ahead as planned and you are able to vote for a better Pakistan, and that this video has helped. Over the coming weeks, we'll be posting more videos to help you decide who to vote for. Remember, Samjo has no political allegiance. We are just working to give you all the information you need. If you found this video useful, click the like button and share this video as we grow our channel. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified of new videos and stay informed with Samjo.